Hey, listen, we're going to do a video today, and I'm going to take you on this motorcycle here, Suzuki SV1000. I'm going to take you on the freeway with me, with this camera. So I have the camera in my helmet. Let me show you in the mirror. I don't know if you can see it, but it's secreted right here under my nose. So wherever I look to the left, the camera films. If I look to the right, the camera films. Everyone always says, how do you do it? You know, look, it's hands-free. So it's very safe, and so I can just concentrate on driving, and there's a microphone within it so you can hear what I have to say. So here's today's video topic, and I've been wanting to do this one for a long time. This video is going to be titled, "The Default Position is Not Only Just Christianity, but the Burden of Proof is on Atheists." So this video, actually the official title will be "The Burden of Proof is on Atheism." Let me explain. Check out this actual facts here. It says recent polls show that 96% of Americans believe in God. So I live in America here. 96% of them believe in God. That means at the most there's 4% atheists. So the burden of proof is clearly on the atheists. So the question we have for atheism is, where is the proof and evidence that proves that atheism is accurate and correct? Now notice, remember this number, 96%. Remember this number, 4%. It is obvious the burden of proof is clearly on the atheist. So when an atheist tells you, well, the burden of proof is on you, that's just a bunch of garbage. And speaking of garbage, let's put that dishonest atheist quote in the trash, because it is dishonest to say that the burden of proof is on those that believe in God. I will prove it. I will prove that the burden of proof, you ready? Here we go. The burden of proof is in fact on atheists. Listen, it says 96%. Where I'm driving right here, okay, in my world, in the real world, hold on. The majority of people confess to believing in God. The other 4% are dishonest and say they don't believe in God. Even though the Bible clearly says in Romans that everybody believes in God. And it even says that all of creation is proof enough of God's existence. Now, seriously, guys, how could someone be so stupid? Seriously, to think that all of this creation just created itself. That's so stupid. This is why 96% of the people are the default position. So, this 3 or 4% of atheists, the burden of proof is on atheism. Why should I, as a God-believing person, a God-confessing person, an ex-atheist who got honest and admits God exists, why should I have to go convince 96% of the people out there that already believe? So there is no burden of proof on me. They agree with me. So why, there is no burden of proof on me. The 96% of the people, I'm in the 96%. So I think the people that say they believe in God and they admit it, they've done very well at presenting proof and evidence that God exists. So much so that the majority of society, 96%, the facts don't lie, 96% agree and confess that God exists. So I don't have to convince people that have already been convinced. I do not have the burden of proof to convince people that agree with me. They've already been convinced. Now, atheists, however, you guys got a problem. You're a very small percentage in society, and most people think you're nuts. Let's just be honest. They've done some recent polls and studies, and do you know that, I'm not making this up, you can look it up, atheists are the least trusted group in society. This is why they're but a squeak in society, 4%. So the burden of proof really rests on the atheists themselves. They're going to have to go ahead and prove that atheism is accurate and correct. And until they do that, which they never will, now watch, this light always gets me. Let me give it throttle. Didn't get me this time. There'll always be a little percentage of society. So the next time you're talking to an atheist and he says, well, the burden of proof resides on you, say, well, we already did prove it. 96%, my buckaroos. 96% believe in God. I say we did a very good job. We already did prove it. Get up with the time. 96%, that's a big number. 96% of the people believe in God. So listen, my atheist friends. Hold on, I got to give it throttle to avoid being squished by the semi. Listen, my atheist friends, the burden of proof resides on you. We have proven it. We've proven it. We've proven our side, but this little measly 3 or 4% that you guys are, it is obvious the burden of proof resides on you. So how will you prove it? Well, let me tell you how Christians do it. Christians actually show proof and evidence that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I'm going to put a link below here. When you click it, you'll go to my radio show where for 2 hours I provided historic proof and evidence that you could actually look up. You could even look it up on the internet. It's been proven that Jesus Christ not only existed in the flesh, but he is the Son of God. But when you ask atheists, and I'm going to give you an example of some atheists that have been challenged to provide proof and evidence that proves atheism is accurate and correct, and how they failed, okay? First of all, I called into a radio show. You're going to see a pop-up here. You can click it. And I asked, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 atheists. They were not prepared for me to call in, even though they were taking open lines. So I called up and I asked them, where is the proof and evidence that proves atheism is accurate and correct? And when you hear this audio, you will hear them try to avoid the question. And then they're even saying, well, what's your favorite ice cream? And I mean, you know, they're just nuts. And that show has become the laughing stock, really, of YouTube. Because what happened, you'll hear me really, it was tough, I will admit it, but you'll hear me really trying to stay with them and have them answer the question, where is the proof and evidence that proves atheism is accurate and correct? And what happens is, they're trying to hang up on me and get rid of me, right? But they haven't answered the question. I said, oh, you're going to hang up and run from the question. You'll hear me say that. So then they're stuck. They don't want to hang up because, you know, the audio is like for everyone to listen to. You could download it later. So they stick with me. It goes into 5 minutes of them avoiding the question, what proof and evidence can you provide that proves atheism is accurate and correct? Then they reword the question. The amazing atheist on YouTube, or as I call him, the amazingly hellbound atheist, he did the same thing. It's a common dishonest atheist tactic where you'll ask a question and then they'll be like Bill Clinton, some politician, and they'll reword your question to where it's not even your question, and then they'll answer their question. It doesn't work with me, guys. I used to be an atheist. I know the dishonest atheist tricks that they use. And so the amazing atheist, he admits that he failed on the first video. He didn't go ahead and say the question right. So get this. He does another video and he messes up on that one. He doesn't even ask my question at all. So he's failed twice so far. He's avoided the question twice. Now you'll hear on the radio show that I called into that finally I get the atheist host to admit, and I couldn't believe it. I go, oh my gosh, I got him to admit it on live radio. And this is why that video, when you click this box, you'll see it, the box that comes up here. This is why on live radio, he admitted he really doesn't have any proof and evidence where he can prove that atheism is accurate and correct. He said all he has is his say-so, his opinion. That's ridiculous. That's religion. That's not science. That's not proof. That's religion. Religion is man's way to become a god or to reach God. Jesus Christ is God's way to reach man. Okay, so now let's move on back to this burden of proof being on the side of the atheist. Remember, guys, remember this lesson. When an atheist says the burden of proof is on you, show them those statistics I just showed you. See, atheists, the reason why there's such a low amount society is they don't use what we use. They don't use facts and truth. They use dishonesty. So, I have another reason why I think atheists are having a hard time recruiting people into their humanistic way of religion. You're going to see a video here, one of the best videos I've ever seen. I'll put it on the pop-up here, by Frank's Voice. Frank's Voice. And what he does, brilliant video, one of the best videos I've seen. And oh, and then I got a couple of minutes, I'll tell you about my 2 favorite videos on YouTube I've ever seen. But Frank's Voice goes through all the dangers and evils of atheism. And it's excellent, so you watch for that annotation here, and you can watch his video. Now, let me tell you about the 2 favorite videos I've ever seen. My first favorite video that I've ever seen is by Gear Up, where Gear Up is doing a video where it's like a skit, where he is showing how it would be if God, you know what, let me get the right link here, if God was talking to Pat Condell. It was excellent. You should see that. Go to Gear Up's channel. But listen to this. My second favorite video, and you're going to be, what's the word I'm thinking of, why I tap my finger to my formal Bible speaking mouth. You're going to be shocked by this. But my second favorite video is by The Amazing Atheist. Now, I mean the utmost kindness when I say this. The video was when The Amazing Atheist opened up his heart, and he was crying a little bit on his video when his dad passed away. And what's really awesome is you see a part of The Amazing Atheist that you never really see on his other videos, where basically, if I can get serious with you guys here, basically all his inhibitions are down, his defenses are down, and you see a glimpse into what atheism really is. And as he's talking about his dad passing on, which is, you know, we always miss our loved ones when they pass on. What he does in this video is he shows you a glimpse of what atheism's end result really is. And he talks about his dad's passing, and one word stuck out in my mind what he said. He talks about it being a tragedy, and he's talking about death as it's so tragic and it's tragedy. And I don't really agree with that part of his video, because I'm a Christian. Death to me is not a tragedy. Of course I'm going to cry when my dad and mom pass away, but I would never say, oh, it's a tragedy. Thank God that we as Christians have hope. We will see our loved ones again. But I even emailed The Amazing Atheist. It was a long time ago. And that was back when you can 5-star the videos. I 5-starred his video because in that video, he really showed the essence of atheism, which could be summed up in one word, ladies and gentlemen. And he said it best: tragedy. It's tragedy. And it breaks my heart. And this is why I have a passion for atheists. I love you atheists, but I take a tough love approach. If your dang house was burning down, I wouldn't be whispering on the outside of the door. I'd be beating on the door trying to get your attention to say, hey, you know what? You're in danger. And atheism, it is a tragedy, and you guys are in danger. Jesus Christ is the answer.